We are neither actors, nor are we human. We are but a race of creatures, simply known as podcaster.
We have invaded your planet in hopes of colonizing your world for the sake of our audio-based forms to exist. But we can only succeed if you go to patreon.com/recesscastproductions. For less than the cost of running a poorly thought-out improv performance business, you can support our species. That means bonus episodes, early access, and exclusive content. The assimilation of your species has already begun. You cannot resist going to patreon.com/recesscastproductions. It is inevitable.
Well, that was a weird Patreon raid. I'm not really sure how to follow that up. Really destroys the reality of what I'm trying to create here. Also, probably would have been better in a Star Trek episode. But oh well, welcome to the After Credits Cast, the only film podcast to answer the call and be beamed up by aliens. I'm your host, AJ Waseski, and I'm joined by Riger Medenhurst.
Shizik, she's it.
Indeed. You can follow us and our weird alien life forms on Patreon, as well as YouTube, Peepa, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, and Google us elsewhere, but you'll find us there. You can also follow us on Twitter, Tumblr, or Facebook to reach out to us, and you can also email us directly your concerns for your species' existence and assimilation. Ryan, where can I send that to?
They can send that to Spencer. Remember to flush. Excuse me, sorry. That is evacstation@gmail.com.
God, I hope everyone remembers to flush out there, and then wash your hands afterward. That's important.
Please do, guys.
I haven't mentioned the other episodes this season. I feel bad, but we also have an exclusive episode this month for the Holy Grail Monty Python Holy Grail movie. I hear nerds really like that movie. They reference it all the time. So if that's something you're into, hey, check it out. And if not, then I guess you're not a nerd. So get out of here, nerd.
Nerd.
Nerd!
Nerd! Sorry.
Yeah, it's just fun to say. I don't know why. The intro song this week was Koro Bieniki, which is the traditional Russian folk dance from the movie we're talking about today. Ryan.
Max can beat the shit out of us for butchering that later. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Max, if you are hearing this, and I imagine I'll have to re-edit this if you do hear it and then want me to add it in later, let me know what it actually is pronounced as, and you can also make fun of me if you want, and I'll edit it back into this episode, just do like a re-upload or something. I'm sure fans will love it. They'll dig it. It's cool. Anyway, before we get too far in, let's see, what was that? Ryan, this is a little-known movie that some people may not know about. You're gonna be surprised with some of the stuff I found today.
Ooh, I'm excited. This was like jumping ahead a little bit here, but this is one of the first comedies that I had ever seen. Like, I saw it when I was very, very young, and I didn't even really know what I was watching, but it was one of the first movies I kind of grabbed onto, so it's kind of near and dear to my heart.
I hear you. My first comedy, we didn't cover it this season. We've already covered it, though. My first comedy that I really latched onto is Jurassic Park, actually.
I mean, is Jurassic Park a comedy?
Is it not? I mean, did you not laugh?
It had funny bits.
Did you not laugh at Ian Malcolm's stellar performance? It was great.
Oh my god.
In this season of laughs, we're here with 1997's The Man Who Knew Too Little, directed by John Amiel and written by Howard Franklin and Robert Farrer, the latter of which also wrote the original novel.
Watch that man.
This film would go on to gross a total of $13 million, Ryan. Guess what?
Yes?
That's over half of what it cost.
Did you say half?
Yep.
Oh, no.
This movie didn't do so hot, unfortunately.
Oh, I feel so bad. This was so good.
I will dive into that in a minute, but before we get there, The cast includes names you may be familiar with, such as Anna Chancellor, Geraldine James, Simon Chandler, John Standing, Richard Wilson, Alfred Molina. Hey, I recognize that one. Joanne Whaley, Peter Gallagher. I'm familiar with that one as well. And the return of Bill Murray.
Yes, the Bill Murray.
We've had him on a couple times this series. We've done Space Jam. We've done Zombieland. There was another one he was. Oh yeah, the Christmas movie that we shat on pretty hard.
Oh man.
Yeah, this is a better one. This is way better than that Christmas movie. Forget that never happened. That never happened.
Oh god. Oh god.
No workplace shootings here. Not at all.
Nope.
No awards. So let's have our fun facts.
All right. Well, we got 3 for you this fun evening. When Wallace Ritchie, character played by Bill Murray, uses a mallet to break down the door, he yells, "Here's Johnny!" This, of course, being a nod to Jack Torrance, played by Jack Nicholson's breaking down the door with an axe and saying the same thing in The Shining. Excuse me. I'm sorry. The Shining.
Do you get sued?
Back in 19... Yeah, we're going to get sued. The mallet is actually the signature weapon used in the novel The Shining from Stephen King, unlike the axe used in the Stanley Kubrick movie. So it's a nice little nod to the actual source material.
It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. Now, next up, in the hotel after the interrogation, Boris, the butcher, Blavatsky, walks out of the room to call Dr. Ludmila Kropotkin and says, pointing to Wallace Ritchie, "Yuri, get the rubber sheets, and watch that man." Watch That Man is the title of the novel which this movie was based, and I just realized that I spoiled the hell out of that fun fact about 3 minutes ago. I'm sorry.
It's cool. It's fine.
It's not like I read the script ahead of time. I mean, we have one more fun fact for you this evening. One of the agents at the end has the last name of Venkman, just like Bill Murray's character in the first 2 Ghostbuster movies, which is something we're definitely going to have to take a look at later on in our podcast.
What was Bill Murray in a Ghostbusters movie? Yeah, he was in that one with the girls. They were doing the ghost busting.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. And he was like carried out by a dragon thing, and yeah, that was a thing.
Ugh. Poor Bill Murray. We'll get to horrible reboots later on this year. But Lee got some initial thoughts for this particular movie. AJ, what did you think?
I was very surprised the movie did so poorly, and so few people really know about it. I have a mom and dad who are big Bill Murray fans, and when I said we were watching this, they're like, "What the fuck is that movie? We've never heard of it."
What?
And I'm like,
wow.
I'm like, really? That's odd. It's like just a little unknown gem, and based on the box office numbers, I guess that is the case. But no, I was laughing pretty much the whole time through this one. It's the kind of humor that I really dig into, and I don't know if it's maybe just me or if the movie is better than everyone's giving it credit for. I don't know what it is, but I had a blast with this one. This was actually really fun.
Okay, well, I'm glad somebody likes it. Jesus. So, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, this is one that's close to my heart. I was very, very young. I think I saw this when I was maybe about 9 or so. And I was starting to actually pay attention to what the fuck happened in the movies so I could follow along with it. But yeah, no, the humor was really, really great. This was my first Bill Murray movie. I can say that as a fact. So I love the comedy in it. I love the accidental humor and just like the sheer absurdity of the situation, but how well it plays out. It's a great feeling. And Alfred Molina playing a big-ass Russian dude.
That was actually pretty entertaining. Yeah.
It was the best. It was the best thing. I loved his role. So I'm really glad that I submitted this one for our for the season. This was my sole entry into it, and I'm glad that my recommendation got you laughing so much. So yeah.
Indeed. I mean, it didn't make you laugh as hard as, say, a lawyer being eaten off a toilet by a T-Rex, but, you know...
That's top-tier comedy, man. You can't write that shit.
It really is top-tier comedy.
That was all actually improv by the fucking animatronic. The guy just got eaten, but it was really funny. So
to be honest, it was during the actor's bathroom break, and they just like, let's just give it a shot and see what happens.
Like, get that rolling. Roll that. Roll.
Just so everyone knows, Steven Spielberg, Hollywood's biggest troll. Dude, we're going to push this narrative of Jurassic Park being a comedy so hard. It's going to be great.
I love it.
We got a synopsis for everybody here. And, yeah, I think I had some fun putting this together. Let's give it a shot. Fresh off the mean streets of Des Moines, Iowa, Wallace Ritchie goes to visit his brother in England for his birthday. Wallace's birthday, not the brother. The brother, James, is not expecting this visit, and it happens right in the middle of right on the night of his very important business meeting. Oh no, whatever will we do? Well, like any loving sibling, he throws him out in the street and pushes him to a bad improv. Yep, this improv is a new local thing called the Theater of Life, in which you are a participant in the strange going-ons of the show. Well, as you expect from this genre, misunderstandings occur almost immediately. Wallace gets a call to meet for an assassin/spy named Spencer, and is given directions to the bad part of town. Wallace assumes this is part of the improv shit and goes with it anyway. All night, despite the numerous attempts at his life and dangers present, he never suspects a thing otherwise, and it's kind of hilarious, just all of that. I'm not going to spoil any of those bits and pieces, but the chain of events is just great. During his venture, he meets a woman who believes he is this super spy. She falls for him, or at least this idea of him. They even break up over some money, before getting back together again, both living a lie without even realizing it. Perhaps a metaphor for all relationships, really. We get towards the final act. Wallace has unknowingly stumbled into a plot involving a bomb on key ambassadors for a treaty signing. His meddling disables the bomb. The men who hired him under the guise of Spencer pay him off and run, taking half the money and also, apparently, the bomb with them. They blow up because bad guys gotta get theirs. We end with Wallace and the woman, Lori, on a beach, living it up. Some agents test Wallace, and once again, Wallace believes it all to be part of a act or show.
And he becomes a secret agent!
If this movie had made more money, I could see it getting a sequel, because the premise is so it's interesting. I really like it.
So off the fucking wall. I love it. I really wish they'd have kept going on it. But yeah, it's blowing my mind that it bombed at the box office. This is honestly blowing my mind.
And considering the fact that Bill Murray's name's a big pull, I'm surprised. Like, I know we talked about in a future episode. We've talked about Wilder and Mel Brooks and the surprise success of how Young Frankenstein is compared to everything else they've done. But this is just surprising how hard this one bombed. Like I said, from beginning to end, I had some pretty solid laughs. Like, and here's the thing: when you first told about this one, and I had like very little information on it, I'm like, okay, so this will probably be all right. But yeah, I didn't have high expectations. Not against you or anything. Just when I don't know about something, I don't get my hype up too high. I'm like, I'm just gonna go in and just see what happens.
Of course.
And I want to say, even though I was calling what was going to happen pretty quickly in the beginning, I would say probably around the time that he gets mugged is where I started just like really getting into just how hilarious this whole thing was. Like, there are some jokes prior to it. I really liked his back and forth with the flight, not the flight attendant, but the customs agent, I guess is what he was. That was a pretty good back and forth. But once the mugging happens and things just go off the rails from there, it just gets better and better every interaction, and I just had a lot of fun with that. So I don't get what people didn't like about it, but I dug it. I was into it.
Well, I'm glad you dug it. I'm really, really glad you dug it.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Ryan? What do you think of this? I know you said you grew up with this one, but what do you want to add to that?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is my shit. This movie is my shit. I absolutely love it. I think you're right. It's mostly when, like, I think it really starts taking off it starts taking off for me around the time that the show is supposed to begin. He's supposed to get the call, but he gets the call early. And it's just like, just answer the phone. It's fine. And he actually just stumbles into a fucking super spy plot. So just the comedy of errors that just constantly builds. And it gets funnier the more comfortable he gets into the role. So it intrinsically pulls the audience in on the shenanigans, because as he's getting more comfortable, the audience is getting more comfortable with just how fucking absurd this is going to be. And to the fact that they can top it off with him doing a made-up Russian dance, disarming a bomb, and blocking a poisoned arrow, just like for fun. Yes, like this movie does a really good job with pacing itself. It just constantly builds and builds and builds. It never feels like it rushes. It never feels like it drags. And you feel like you are getting more comfortable in the improv as Bill Murray's character does. So I think that's really hard to do, and I think they did it very, very well.
Yeah, and I had something for this. I will say the final act, like when they get to the Russian dance and everything around it, it gets a little cartoonish in its logic, but it works because it's escalating and one-upping the stuff that came before it. And I think that is why everything kind of meshes together really well. There's some little bits that I've seen in other stuff like Simpsons and other sitcoms and other movies where, like, for example, when he thinks the gun's fake and he shoots it and stuff happens and then he, like, looks into the barrel of the gun, like, my heart, like, just jumped and be like, no, don't do that. It's real.
But see, I think that's the most hilarious shit. And I think that is it's kind of a building point to why I think the last act works, because like he's having a blast, he's holding a bomb. He's having a grand old time making up shit on the dance floor, which at the beginning of the movie he didn't want to be on stage, he was shy and whatnot. So this whole thing also got him to kind of come out of his shell. He was having a grand old time. But and everybody else at the party is like, this is hilarious, this is ridiculous, to the point where there's one person who's not really a part of the dance, but also he is a part of the dance, and he borrows the Russian doll from from the head table, and he goes to the ambassadors, can I borrow this? Thanks, I'll be right back. And everybody seems to be in on it, and they're having a grand old time. But the people that are involved in the plot are sweating fucking bullets because he's got the bomb. So every time he does something goofy and everybody laughs, they pair it immediately with the people who actually knows what's going on. They're like, oh, shit! Oh, God, we gotta get out of here. He's about to blow everybody up. Oh, no! Oh, no! So it's the juxtaposition of hilarity and seriousness that I think really, really sells the final act.
Well, and I think the humor... So we've seen various types of humor throughout this season. We've had the off-the-wall, insane humor of stuff like Airplane and Naked Gun. We've had the subtlety of Young Frankenstein, which we'll get to in a few episodes. Just wait, guys. And we've had the I guess you could call it audacious humor of Monty Python in our bonus episode. Go check it out. So here, I don't know what I'd classify this as, because it's a little bit of everything. But I think what works for me is just, I like the mixture of comedy of errors where just things escalate from one bad thing to another, but also just the constant misunderstanding, like talking over each other between Bill Murray's character and the guys on the phone, because everyone thinks what's happening is completely different from what everyone else thinks is happening. Like, it's for some reason that clicks with me so well. And I'm not sure what it is, but like that's the kind of humor I can dig into, is just when no one really knows the whole story, so everyone's acting like they do, so everyone acts like everyone else is in on their half of the story, but no one is. It's like a weird improv game almost of like, you're given a role to somebody, and the other person has to try to figure out what that role is. A very whose line is it anyway kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think like this film does some really smart shit regarding that, because I think like the basis of the comedy for this movie is like the assumptions that we place on interactions with other people in society. When you interact with somebody, you have an assumption of what that interaction is going to be. And if the person that you're interacting with shares that assumption, then you guys can just go on and do whatever. But when the assumptions on the other end, when the assumptions between the two people are completely different, you end up getting like really, really ridiculous misunderstandings and disconnects. So to see it where the people involved believe completely different things, but they're aligning so perfectly in this one moment in time, and it's almost like flipping a coin in the air and having it land on its edge like 50 times in a row. Like that's the level of chance that has to happen in order for something like this to play out. But because it's a movie and you're just supposed to enjoy it and have fun, your disbelief can be just, you can let it go. You can just, it will fly on its own because it's just that funny. So I think using those assumptions and like kind of making a play on how society works and how our joint assumptions really are supposed to fuel our interactions, they just kind of make a big ass joke of that. And that's why I think it's really good.
Ryan, would you ever consider participating in this theater of life? And then why or why not?
Yes, I 100% would. I would. So here's the thing. I haven't done improv, but I have been an audience member of interactive theater.
Okay.
It was only one, and I wasn't expecting a lot of it, but it actually blew my mind in like the best way. Like I did not expect to actually really enjoy it, and I really, really did. It was a kind of an interactive. It was an interactive telling of the story of Faust, and you got to like various groups got to go around this big ass like rented out mansion and follow the cardinal sins, like the deadly sins, their personifications, as they like interact with each other and they interact with Faust. And I went because my pastor's wife played Greed, and it was amazing. So I've had good experiences with it. I think it can be real bad, but I also think it can be really, really good. So I would give it a shot just to see what the fuck happened, honestly.
I having done various games of D&D, having done improv with Nicole on various shows we've done already on our various podcasts. You've been there, you've seen it. I like improv. It's something I wish I could do more of. But I have to do improv with someone I'm like familiar with, or have to have someone who's like very like easy to get along with.
Yeah.
So I've always been very apprehensive about joining an improv group or anything because I feel like it's not going to be something I'm going to have fun unless I'm like in it with someone I know. But I would consider doing this for sure. I've joked trying to do improv with Amanda on certain things, but she's just very anti-improv, anti-roleplay and stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, I know. It sometimes I love her, but sometimes it's hard to like do some of the fun things I want to do, and she's like, just no, dog, it ain't me. But no, that's why I've got you, Ryan. That's why I've got Nicole. That's why I've got Max. I've got my improv team right here.
Yep. Oh God, like us as an improv troupe, I would just slit my wrist. I mean, that would be so much fun.
I mean, we've tried some stuff before. It's been pretty fun.
Oh yeah, no, we've had a blast, and I credit you for kind of getting me to come out of my shell on the whole improv thing, because I do role play and do like D&D, but the kind of more free form improv stuff I'm not super well versed in, but getting to do that on the podcast has been fun. It's been like a controlled experiment, and I've gotten to have fun with you guys in a lot of different ways. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I think you can't just nosedive into improv. I think it's gotta be something you take steps into, because obviously you're not gonna want to improv in front of an audience like day one. You want to do it in small groups. You want to do it with just back and forth, and then eventually incorporate more people, and then go from there. It's an evolving art form. It's something you just have to kind of flex the muscles on, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, was James right to kick his brother out? Was Wallace wrong for having come to England? Why or unannounced? Why or why not?
I mean, so in terms of hospitality, I mean, dropping by unannounced is pretty bad. I mean, James seems well off enough that he could have housed him with little real trouble. It's just, like having to reschedule his whole fucking like weekend around this person who just showed up. So it's a bit of a faux pas on his end, but I also think, like, especially considering the fact that he keeps lying about what his brother actually does for a living, like, I think getting him out of the house for this one night and then, like, wanting to actually spend time with him after just, like, a big business dinner that he was hosting was understandable. I was not mad at him for the shenanigans that ensued. Like, I get it. I do get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Wallace probably should have at least called. Just a little bit.
Phone first.
Like, I mean, I love my family, but I don't want anyone dropping in on me, because, I mean...
Don't just jump on a fucking plane. Phone first.
I mean, I could be in the middle of something when you knock on the door, and I need to get pants back on, so just chill. At what... So, there's a caveat to this question. At what point would you have expected either Wallace or the bad guys to realize what's actually going on? And why do you think this realization never hit, aside from the fact that, of course, this is a comedy, and it's pivotal to the plot that no one knows the whole truth?
So, God damn it. So the moment where I personally think the suspension of disbelief was stretched just a little far was anything having to do with the gun. Because when he's got a real fucking gun and he says, "Get away from that phone," and accidentally pulls the trigger and the fucking phone like blows up, he's just like, how they do that? That's amazing. I'm like, no, fool, that's a gun. Don't you feel the barrel is hot? Come on, dog. This is real.
I could maybe buy him doing that once, but every time after that, I would have been like, "Nah, dude, come on. You gotta piece this together at some point."
Or when he pulls the trigger and misses Lori. Like, first of all, tinnitus is a bitch, so both of them should be deaf as hell. Second, if he's holding a prop gun, didn't mean to miss her, but accidentally misses her, and then a squib that they place in the wall actually pops off, like it was planned for him to miss. I'm like, come on.
At that point in particular, yeah, you'd think he would have figured it out. But
I mean, you could see it starting to dawn on him, because he's looking at the gun and he's looking in the barrel, and I'm just like, dog, almost, but we've got to keep the plot moving, and the pretty British girl is saying, hey, we got to get to this next scene. So, all right, let's go. I will say, his boner probably got in the way of him figuring it out a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit, But, I think he was too intrigued by the events going on that he didn't want to stop, is what it was.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah, he's like, no, I want to be in character. I want to really get into character, girl.
And I think it helps that they established early on that he did have a dream and an idea of wanting to be an actor, and I think that definitely fed into this idea. It is this grand notion in his head that if he kept this going, he could live that dream he never got to do. And I think that ultimately made it work really well.
Yeah, I think that was essential to not only his character, but also to the whole movie working out. Because if you threw a real fucking person in this situation, and then like any of those things with the gun happen, I'd be like, wait, hold on. I felt real kickback when that gun went off.
So
either this is ridiculously well done, or something terribly wrong is going on.
So I want everyone to know, I'm pulling this out of context, Ryan. So you can defend yourself if you wish to. But I made the joke about I made the comment that he wanted to be an actor, and so he wants to play along with it. And you said any real person would have caught on. So what I'm getting out of this, Ryan, is you don't think actors are real people.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said.
You're here, folks.
Yeah, actors aren't real people, guys. Yeah, you heard it first.
You heard it here first.
Dag nabbit. Since I've got to retract my previous statement, what I am saying is that damn it, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. Because I was going to say a standard person and be like, oh, so actors aren't standard people. Like, damn it. Yeah, the average person who's not involved in the arts would generally not be so determined to stay in character and like keep the illusion going. So as they would have figured it out sooner. Like, hey, wait a second. How the fuck did you actually do that? No, wait, everybody pause. How the hell did that happen? Is this a real gun? If I point this randomly, is it going to go... Pff? Oh, shit, this is a real gun.
With the exception of Adam Sandler, I don't believe he's ever in character. He's just playing himself, so I think he would have found out pretty quick.
Yeah, probably.
So Christian Bale, not a person. Alfred
Method actors aren't people.
Not a person.
I'm sorry.
At the end of the film, do you think Laurie still believed Wallace to have been some kind of spy? Do you ever think Wallace learned the truth of the ordeal? Why or why not?
For like my headcanon is that my headcanon is that he never figures out what the fuck's going on. My headcanon is that he never figures it out. That he becomes an amazing accidental Secret Service spy, and the hilarity just ensues from that point moving forward. I still think that Laurie absolutely knows. Oh no, I think Laurie believes that he's a secret agent, but I think the things that she falls in love with him for are him, because it's all of the ways that he wasn't in character that really started pulling her to him. So I think their relationship is real. I just think she never figures out that this is just a dopey guy who originally worked for Blockbuster, and now he's a secret agent because reasons.
Well, I mean, when you walk away with all that money, why would you ever go back to Blockbuster?
You know what? That's actually a big point. Like, once he finds out that money is real and that he actually has a 1.5 million pounds, it's just like, wait a second, hold on.
Hey,
this is phony money. This is phony money. No, that's real fucking money. Was all of this real? Oh, God.
So I wanted to do a quick calculation as to what 1.5 million pounds to real money is, and that is
real money.
That is $1,843,350 dollary dues.
Yep.
Yep. So, yep. There you go, right there. So, not the richest man in the world, but in 1997.
1997, that'll take you far.
That'll get you pretty good. Yeah, I struggle to think that Laurie would never have figured it out, but I think to her it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
In the long run, but just like I want to believe she's smart enough to see where things got disconnected and realize, oh, this is what actually happened. Well, should I want to stay with him because I feel like he's just a lucky duck?
But here's the thing: every time she saw him, he was doing some actual super cool spy shit. Like once she comes to after they were captured, and she sees him like him having knocked out the 2 Russian goons completely is like out of the chair and just like perfectly fine. And she's like, holy shit, he is a secret agent. This guy's amazing. So it's like every time she saw him, either they were not in a combat scenario or the luck die was just constantly, he was rolling 20s all night and just gliding through life despite the fact.
Weighted dice.
Yep. Fate's throwing the weighted set with this guy, and I love it.
But no, I think there is something to this relationship with them not realizing the truth about one another. Like they're hiding their real selves behind these masks, but also not hiding them. You know what I mean? Like, so Laurie is straight up who she is the whole way through, and then Wallace is this enigma character to everybody. And it's just amazing that he's got this, you might call it a persona that everyone just buys into.
Oh my god, every time you.
And I know, I saw the opportunity, I took it.
I love it. Don't ever change.
I can't, it's impossible, it's part of my persona. Anyway, it's just interesting that he's just got this personality that no one seems to really get to the truth of, and it's just, I don't know, I just find it very fascinating, just that whole mix. And like I said, it does kind of speak to real relationships almost, like how much you really know about the other person, what life are they living that you don't fully know about, and what part of them are they not showing to you, either because they don't want to or because they just simply can't.
Wait, I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Like, well, part of it kind of runs a relationship where, like, you know, if you're with somebody, like, how much about the other person do you really know, and then like what part of their lives are they sharing with you, or are they not sharing with you, that either because they can't or just simply don't know how to.
Yeah, well, I mean, but in all relationships, there is an element of that. I mean, I think like the best relationships are where you want to be like as open as possible because you want that person to know as much of the real you as you can, and if they stick with you, then that's the person you should be with. But I also think that because of so much of the human experience is unquantifiable and you can't really put it into words. Like, I can't tell you exactly how, like, words fail, like things are lost in translation. Another Bill Murray movie. But things are lost in translation when you're trying to share them with people. So it's always gonna be imperfect. There's always gonna be bits about me that people won't ever know because either I don't want to tell them or I just can't convey it to them. But, I mean, I think that's just par for the course, because the only person you're ever going to know that well is yourself.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm bringing something up here to help me out real quick. But you know what? That's some good opinion. That's some good opinions there. Very different stripes indeed. But moving on. And yes, I did drop a name reference there. Anyway, moving on. So, Ryan, why do you think we performed so poorly at the box office?
Honestly, I don't fucking know. I do not know. I can only guess that it was piss poorly managed. Because, I mean, when you think of other comedies, like, this isn't as raucous or, like, off the fucking wall as The Naked Gun and as Airplane. It's a little more subtly written. It's fucking Bill Murray. So, I mean, I can't imagine, like the only way I could see this movie not doing well is that the marketing team dropped the ball. That's the only reason I could see it.
Maybe. I mean, I thought this movie rocked the Casbah personally, but but you started this. I'm carrying this forward. So no. I do think it was really good, and it just, I don't know, just Bill Murray's general performance and clout. Like, he had plenty of movies before this, and will have plenty after this, and so it just shocks me that this didn't get the attention I thought it would. So it had to have been marketing, or maybe it just came out at a bad time. Like, Let me.
It's really good. It's a good movie. I don't understand.
Let's see. Let me look up something real quick. So, what's the movie called again?
The Man Who Knew Too Little.
Too Little.
You had Alfred Molina. You had Peter Gallagher. Like,
so this came out November 14th of 1997. So let's see what other movies released on. Okay, so 1997 November movie releases. Here we go. We have. Let's see, this is what day again? 14th. So second week. This opened up against Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Alien Resurrection, The Jackal, and then afterwards The Rainmaker. Oh, okay. I can see why. I can see why, because the following week was Titanic.
Damn.
And that kind of killed the box office for everybody for a good while.
Yeah, okay. Damn. Oh, that's rough.
And Starship Troopers came out a week beforehand, so you had another big comedy pop out just around the same time.
God. Well, I mean, Starship Troopers was more satire than comedy because it took itself real serious. But yeah,
True,
I get you.
But I mean, still in that same vein of trying to make you laugh, though. So
yeah. Damn.
That's
sad.
It opened up in a bad time.
That makes me sad. Oh, Bill, I'm sorry. This movie needed to come out some other time. This was really good. It got buried. It got buried in the box office.
Like a month or two before this probably would have been better, but that was. Yeah.
Fuck, dude, Titanic. Oh shit. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't want to open the same weekend as Mortal Kombat Annihilation either, honestly.
Oh my god.
Ryan, why did Hawkins and Dagenhurst want to rekindle the Cold War? What did they stand to gain from all that? Maybe money, sure, but ultimately, what would have been the benefit to them, though?
I think there are and particularly in spy movies, you had various people looking to undo the peace the peace established and reignite the Cold War because, I mean, military industrial complex withstanding, I think there were just some people that were in that mindset for so long that it just became their way of life, and change on a global scale that would directly affect their lives was too scary for them. They enjoyed being on their guard and being constantly vigilant, so they wanted to keep it going. Also, a lot of those people were making a lot of fucking money in the war, so there's that too.
Yeah, but guys, the Cold War sucks. So why do you want to do it again? I mean,
because they were shitty people, dog.
I know, but couldn't you guys channel this plotting and these plots into something positive? Maybe a business plan. Maybe make a good business plan and start a new business, and maybe just do something positive for the community.
Are you asking for the villains in this over-the-top ass comedy to make some real character choices and decisions and be better people?
I mean, wouldn't you?
The plot demands them to be ridiculous.
Oh, I know. I watched Austin Powers. I know ridiculous villains when I see them.
Oh God.
I've seen Shrek.
These people just make me laugh so much. I just love them so much.
Going off one of the earlier jokes in the film, Ryan, what do you want to see most in London or the UK?
So here's the thing, and much to my girlfriend's chagrin, I hadn't really the idea of travel never really fully took root in my mind. That's starting to change because I have a girlfriend who wants to travel the fucking world. So in terms of landmarks and whatnot, I don't really have big things that I want to see. I definitely would love to travel to the UK though, just for the accents. I fucking love the accent. I absolutely adore it. So I would love to spend some time there and just be amongst people. Go out, see the sights, absolutely. Take in dinners and like performances and shows and all that good stuff. But I just want to be around English people talking because I love the accent.
So I'm mixed this one because I don't know enough about London and or the UK to like have a definitive like I need to see this. Like I know they got the royal family. Don't care. I know they got Big Ben. It's cool. It's a big tower. I wouldn't mind checking it out. Double decker buses interest me a little bit, but I don't know. I'm more of a Scotland, Ireland guy where I want to see some of the sites they got there because there's some very deep historical stuff going on, and the Stonehenge, all that cool stuff. I don't know. There's something about that I find a little more compelling, like an almost natural world feel to it.
The more natural landmarks you want to see as opposed to the works of man. I get that.
Yeah, and I mean I get it. There's the capital of industry. That was all London back in the day. That was the start of that was the driving force of the new world and everything. So there's definitely stuff I probably would want to see there. I would just have to do research to figure out what all they have that I'm not thinking of. I do know they have because of good chocolates there though, so I wouldn't mind getting some of that. You know me, I'm a chocoholic, so.
Hey, if I'm going to fucking visit London, I'm absolutely having some chocolate. Well, like what is a diet? Diets don't exist on vacation, so yeah, I'd be there.
I mean, unless you're in a place that has food you don't want to eat, in which case, like, oh hey, I don't eat your fish, bro. I'm just gonna sit here and just.
I don't know, man. I feel like if you're gonna travel someplace and you're not gonna be like cooking all the time, or you don't have the facilities to cook, you're gonna have to find something you like to eat real fast.
Indeed. That's why I had to find something other than sushi in Japan.
Do you not make sushi?
I'm not a big fish guy in general.
Ah, okay. Well, that makes sense.
But they had plenty of ramen, though, so I was good with that.
Oh, yes. Oh, 100%.
Mm-hmm. Last question, Ryan. What joke stood out for you the best, and which ones fell flat, if any?
I think the running gag of Boris being the counter-Russian agent who is, like, constantly trying to kill him, but also has a very deep respect growing for him, was perfect. Because you had spooky Russian, like, big spy dude, and every time he came across Wallace, it's just like, oh, this guy's good. He's very good. Oh, shit. Like, maybe you shouldn't be so brave. We're gonna have the evil torturer lady come get you. I think even you won't be able to withstand her charms. Oh shit! He escaped. Goddamn! Like, that's alright. Even he won't be able to penetrate the security to get to the actual ambassadors. Holy fuck! How did he get in there? What? Like, I think just that running gag was the highlight of the movie for me personally.
Yeah, I would have to say that's probably close to it for me too. Just the whole misunderstanding of who Wallace was the whole time was just in general my favorite part. But I think just I don't think it wasn't even really played for laughs, but just the concept of just Laurie and him going back and forth as a will they won't they thing, based on nothing but just fucking bad communication, was just hilarious to me. I would give anything to just check that out again. That was fun. That was really good.
100%. Oh god.
Anything else that we didn't get a chance to cover in this one that you wanted to bring up?
I don't even think it's bad. I think it was just kind of like the subplot of the brother, like having to, like he had to juggle his big important dinner, but also had to juggle like his brother, and also like slowly coming to realize that his brother's actually into something like really bad, and then him telling off the fucking police captain.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to bribe you. If you get the prime minister, I'll bribe him too. I just want someone to talk to me. Okay, call SWAT. Just go get that dude now, please.
Bro got swatted.
And just like the carrying on of a simple, he went for port. like, okay, he's going to a boat. No, I think she means shut up. Close down all the ports. Oh God, it's just good. This whole movie's fucking good. It got robbed. This whole movie got robbed. That's my ending.
Damn you, James Cameron! Why would you ruin such a good film?
Unbelievable.
If you
fucking
wanna
Titanic.
If you want to email us about why you hate James Cameron's horribleness, or if you want to just message us on Facebook, Tumblr, and Twitter, expressing your distaste for Titanic, like everyone else should, you should email us where, Ryan?
They should email us at, what are ya? I'm a very naughty boy. I mean, excuse me. That's, evacstation@gmail.com.
Try to figure out how you spell on there, but, yeah, I'm sure they'll figure it out. So, we will rank the film from platinum to trash and all the colors in between. Ryan, where do you want to rank this gem of a movie that is lost to time?
All right, so we mentioned earlier, and yet ahead in time, about the concepts of not laughing as much because you've seen the movie before.
Yes.
Do you think, but before we get to ranking it, because this is something that's kind of weighing on my mind, is it that the movie is it that movies can feel progressively less funnier with, like, as you age and as you, like, have heard the jokes again and again? Or do you think that if that happens, it's just a product of, like, your changing perceptions, or maybe, like, the jokes aren't hitting you as hard because you've seen more, you've experienced more, or is true comedy just timeless? What do you think?
I think it really depends on the work. Again, and I've said this every episode. Can I reference Simpsons one more time? That's a general question, right? Can I reference Simpsons one more time?
Yes, please. Oh, sorry.
So yeah, you're good. So, Ryan, I grew up with the show. Everyone knows that. I've said it a million times. But so there are some episodes that I hold up as classics, and I will watch them again and again and again and still get the same laughs out of them. Same with Futurama, actually. I recently picked up Futurama before work just to kind of like fill in some time while I'm eating breakfast. And the oldest episodes, you'd think they would be stale. I've seen them a million times, but I actually am still genuinely getting a laugh out of them. And I think what makes comedy timing truly like timeless, like a show or a movie or anything really timeless, is a deep emotional connection to it where you were invested in it from the get-go all the time. And I think it also has to have a humor that doesn't necessarily offend or age poorly. So obviously certain episodes of Simpsons aren't going to age well because the jokes are fairly offensive. Family Guy in general, I think, would probably not age very well over time. Stuff like that. So with this film, I'm not sure, because for me, I don't have any emotional attachment to it. I didn't grow up with it, so this is my first viewing, so I'm going in it completely blind, fresh, I guess is the way to put it. But I don't know how necessarily to do that, because like I said before, comedy is a balancing act between your serious and your humor, and it's also trying to think of the wording I want to do with this here. And it's also a matter of pacing, and does it all still line up as time goes on? Like, do the jokes still work, or do they cease to work as you've gotten older, as the world around it changes? So, I'm not 100% sure how to answer that one. That's really tough to get down. Like I said with a future movie we came up to, I didn't necessarily base it off the laughs. I based it off how well it holds that balance. So
yeah. Okay. So like here's what I'm thinking about. Like, because in watching this movie, I love this movie. It's childhood classic. I was not laughing as hard this time around. Like, I loved it, but I wasn't like dying, like on the ground laughing. And because I compare it to like the big reactions I had with the Naked Gun in particular. I think element, like, one of the big elements in comedy is the unexpected. And I think a joke hits harder in some cases because it's something you could not have expected to happen. And so when you hear the joke again, you already know the punchline. Some of that, like, it loses some of its steam. And so I wondered if that would affect my ranking of it. But talking with you more about the movie and why we like it and what actually like is really making it tick, what like works underneath it, this is a really well constructed comedy. It's a well constructed movie. It's really well paced. It's got the element of the ridiculous in it that still works even if you know what's going to happen, because it's still just you shaking your head at how ridiculous this whole thing is. But you also can pay attention to, I don't know, the mechanics underneath it and appreciate a well-made piece of comedy as opposed to constantly just being surprised by the jokes. So, with that all said, this is going to be my platinum. This is going to be my platinum because even 20 plus years removed and having not seen it in so long, it's actually gotten better now that I've gotten to look at it as a 30-year-old who kind of knows what goes into storytelling and can appreciate just how well made it actually was.
I can't necessarily go platinum because as much as I had fun with this one, I know there's other comedies and other films I would probably put above it, and
That's fair.
I don't think it's flawless. I think that the final act itself, like I mentioned earlier, it gets a little bit too cartoonish for me. I still had fun with it. I still laughed, but I think it does sort of break down the suspension of disbelief there.
Okay.
So I would say gold. I would say it's definitely something that people slept on, that they missed out on, and I would say if you get a chance to see it, this is a masterclass of just silly-ass film writing that works on a lot of different levels. With that is the end of today's episode, or this week's episode. Be sure to tune in next week. You guys will be getting to see Naked Gun. We'll also be showing we'll also have the Monty Python Holy Grail on the Patreon, exclusive for you guys right there. Also, every 10 days, there's also going to be a new episode of the pre-roll. Make sure you don't miss out on those. We should be getting caught up here in those pretty soon, I think. And then next month is the Nolan Wars. So stay tuned for those, because those are going to be entertaining as shit, I imagine. So thank you for joining us this week, and we'll see you after the credits.
Bye.